Alright, this is Half Stick from the Appalachian Trail, and this is my pack shakedown video post-hike. So I just completed the trail yesterday. I'm going to go through my backpack, show you everything that I brought to complete my 2025 northbound through hike. I'm at a campground right now, so there might be some noise, but this is what I have in my backpack here. So camp shoes, I have Crocs. I started with like flip-flop type shoes, but I actually cut my toe, and so I wanted closed toe shoes so you don't kick tent spikes and get your toe there. On the outside here, this is my rain fly for my tent. I did just get a brand new tent, so I know this looks brand new. It is brand new. This is not a 150-day tent. But rain fly on the outside. I like putting it on the outside here so that it can dry when it's raining and stuff. You put it on the outside, it can dry, good to go there. Here I have my trekking poles. These are Lecky titanium trekking poles, and they lasted almost the whole time. I had some incidents with them, but they made it basically the whole way through. On the side here, you can use any kind of bottle, but you want to have a separate bottle that you mix your electrolyte drinks in. So you'll have like a smart water bottle and then an electrolyte water bottle here. And so this is like 600 milliliters, and it worked out pretty well. And then I have my tent poles here. These are my tent poles, and they also have the stakes in there as well. I use the bag because I put the stakes in there. Otherwise, I would just have the poles out. And then I have some olive oil. So one thing that I did was put minced garlic in with the olive oil, and then I would just fill it up as much as I needed to get me to the next spot. And that got me through, so I didn't lose too much weight while I was out there hiking. Here we have my electronics, which is basically my headlamp and charging cord, and the headlamp charging cord as well. Basically all the electronics that I brought there. My name is Half Stick on the Trail, so I did bring deodorant as well as a bamboo toothbrush that I did cut in half, and some toothpaste. And then this is my first aid kit. So my first aid kit is pretty simple. I do not have band-aids in my first aid kit, so I have KT tape instead and cotton balls. So I'd use that as band-aid. KT tape is multifunctional. You can use it for lots of different things. And then instead of a multi-tool, which has a bunch of tiny things that don't work very well, I got the things that I wanted that do work. So tweezers and nail clippers, a little sewing kit here. You can wrap the thread around a little cardboard thing, and then it kind of all stays together. And this is floss and thread. Floss can be really good for some harder fixes. And as a backup fire starter, I have some matches here. These are waterproof matches, KT tape. This all goes in here. I put it in this little thing because I did poke through the plastic bags with the tweezers. And then my favorite thing in here that I forgot to show you are these little scissors. So little scissors like this, and then they fold out, and they actually work, unlike the little tiny scissors that you get in the multi-tools. And then it goes right back down like that, and you're good to go. So that's the basics of the first aid kit there. I also have some Neosporin, which I didn't use too much, some gear patches, and everyone's favorite trail drug, Benadryl. So Benadryl is good for like poison oak and stuff like that, bug bites, all of that stuff. But it also helps you go to sleep. So some people take melatonin. A lot of people take Benadryl. Code name, trail name, Benny on the trail. Benadryl there. And then lastly, I have this sealant. If you saw my other video on how to repair your air pad, you need to buy this in addition to the patch. So this is what actually seals it, and nice tiny small thing. You don't want the big huge tube. And then I carried an extra water bottle cap, and I also had an extra O-ring for my filter in there for a long time. Carried it for like 1,800 miles, and then finally got to give it away to someone. But you might want to carry an extra O-ring just in case your O-ring on your Sawyer goes bad. So here's a buff that I used to roll up my water filter in. It's just a Sawyer water filter. And then this is a attachment that you can buy online, and it makes it easier to back flush your filter. So if you don't have this, it's gonna come like that and the water squirts out there. But if you have this, it also connects directly on top of the water bottle, and then you don't have to aim, and it's all one piece. So I put that in here just to kind of protect it, so it's not just floating around in my bag. And CNOC water bag here. This is really good. There's a couple different ways that you can filter water. Some people put it directly into the water bottle, but I found this was really helpful, and you can squeeze down on the water and get added pressure so that your water will filter more quickly. I had some flavor packets here. Towards the end, I kind of ran out of electrolytes, so I just used flavor packets. But ideally, you want to have electrolytes that you're using every day to add to your water. And then I have hot hands. I didn't really use this after the Smokies, but it was good to keep on hand just in case I did need it. This is like the really big one, the super warmer or whatever. I found this in a hiker box. They make the normal ones that you could use also, but this was the big one. And then this is my bear hang. So it's basically just rope that I used. And then this mesh bag is helpful because you can put a rock in here, and then you can cinch it down, throw your rock up over the branch, and then you can attach your food bag to the carabiner here. So that'll hang, and then you tie the other side to the tree. Also on the outside here, I have my water bottle. So this is my smart water bottle, 1 liter capacity. I have some toilet paper. I have my shovel or trowel for digging cat holes. And I have my footprint. Again, this is brand new. My other footprint was actually permanently attached to my tent, so that's how I carried it. But if I had to carry the footprint, I would carry it on the outside here. And then usually I have a spoon that would attach to here as well. So I like having the carabiner here because you can attach things here so you know stuff's not going to fall out of your pack while you're hiking. On the front here, the left pocket, always keeps my snacks for the day. So I could fit like probably 6 bars in here, in addition to Pop-Tarts. So I put Pop-Tarts in there, 6 bars. I'd be pretty good at least to lunch there. And then on the right side here, I had some stuff that you would want to have easy access to. So I have hand sanitizer. I have Dr. Bronner's soap. If you don't know about Dr. Bronner's, it's like all natural soap. Some ibuprofen, and then a lighter and cotton ball here. So not too much, but just stuff that you might want to have easier access to so you don't have to dig through your pack. I really tried to focus on making everything easy to access and compartmentalizing each thing so that I could just grab something I knew exactly where it was when I needed it. So as we open up my pack here, or I guess on this front side too, I had a watch. Some people wear the watch. I found it got like sweaty, so I liked putting it on here. That way I didn't get sweaty. And I have a bandana. I carried 2 bandanas. I carried one here and then one in my pocket. But bandana and watch. So as we open up my pack here, this is going to be the inside of my tent. So I had a double wall tent. This is like the mesh part, and then the rain fly was on the outside. This is my food bag. It's just like supposed to be airtight bag for like kayaking or whatever. You don't need one of those thick rubber ones. They weigh too much. You can just use this, and then you're gonna fold it down once your food's in there, clip it together, and then you can hang it rather easily as well. So obviously no food in here right now, but that's how I would do it. Just something very simple. You don't need anything crazy while you're out there. I have my puppy. So this is a Patagonia puppy. If I were to buy it again, I would buy the one with the hood, but I didn't. So that's the puppy there. This is part of my easy to access thing, but if I'm cold, I'm going to want my puppy. Additionally, if I'm still cold, I might want my rain pants. And if I'm still cold, I might want my gloves. So all of that cold weather stuff packs into my puppy here. And then there's not a bunch of crap floating around in my pack. Sometimes I would put an extra pair of socks in the other side here as well. That way I always knew where they were, again, so they're not floating around in my pack. And then I also had a small knife in here on the inside. This is just it's actually like a mushroom knife, but you don't need anything huge. Again, some of the like little knives on the multi-tools aren't really going to do anything. This one was nice, big enough to use when I needed it. Then I have my Nemo air pad. Not much to say about this. This is the Tensor trail. Worked pretty well. Kind of noisy, but I think all the air pads are pretty noisy. And I had my Enlightened Equipment quilt, 40-degree quilt for summertime. And then I had a pillow that I stuffed in the top here as well. Again, so stuff isn't floating around in your pack. And that's it. Not too much on the inside of my pack there. Again, trying to keep it pretty easy to find, so you're not digging around in your pack for everything, and keeping stuff on the outside that you need, so you can access it when you need it. I wore Ultra shoes the entire time. These ones are pretty beat up, as you can see, but I got 3 pairs of shoes throughout the whole trail, so that was pretty good. There are a couple people that did it with 2, but most people are using like 4 to 5 pairs of shoes. So Ultra Olympus are these ones here. My tip for that is, if you're gonna buy them online to try and save money, make sure you measure your foot, especially on your second pair of shoes, because your feet are gonna actually get bigger. So I went from a size 10.5 to a 12, but Olympus Ultra is there. And then these are the Ultra Gators. These are kind of cool because they're specifically made for this shoe. So it has a clip point on the front, and it has Velcro on the back that comes on the shoe. So these are specifically made for this, and they work really well. I don't know if these would last like all 2,200 miles. I got them about halfway through, but they did work rather well for me. I was getting some blisters because I was getting dirt in my shoes, and then the sweat would kind of make this like muddy, nasty stuff, and then I would get blisters from that. For socks, I use Darn Tough socks. These actually have a hole in them, so I'm going to try and warranty these socks out and get a new pair. And I would usually bring 2 pairs of socks. Some people brought like up to 6 pairs of socks, but I found 2 was usually okay. You can wash them, dry them, hang them on the back of your pack, and then use them the next day. I had just a pretty normal belt. Some people spend like all this money on like ultralight belts and stuff. You're wearing the weight, so it doesn't really matter that much. As long as it's comfortable, you can use pretty much any belt. For my sun hoodie, I use a REI sun hoodie. These are like 60 bucks, I think, and then you can get them on sale for like 30% off. And I like this one. They have the thumb holes here, which is really nice. Sometimes you can get some like rubbing issues on your hand from the trekking pole, and I thought that the thumb holes were really nice. And the hood fits well. It's not like too loose to where it flies off in the wind, but it's not too tight to where it's like cinching down on your head. So I like this. It was a good, pretty affordable option. Synthetic underwear, I couldn't really find a specific pair that worked really well. These are like expensive ones from REI. I had some like major chafing in the beginning of the trail, but it seemed to kind of figure itself out. So I would just get a synthetic pair of underwear. I don't think you have to spend like $35 on a pair of underwear. And then these are the pants that I wore. These are zip-offs. The legs I would keep in the back pockets here. Again, easy access, and everything's in a compartment, so it's not just floating around in your pack. My lower left pocket here is for trash. My lower right pocket was for my ID and credit card. The upper right pocket here would be for my phone, and then the left pocket here would be another bandana and headphones. I use wired headphones on the trail because I didn't want to be charging more stuff. The more stuff you have to charge, the longer it can take in town, and then the more cords you need. So I just used the wired headphones, and they worked really well, and then you don't have to lose or worry about losing your other headphone as well. So that's it for my post-hike shakedown. I will be doing more videos on each kind of category. So I'll do sleep system, electronics, tent, and all of that stuff. So stay tuned for those videos, and thanks for watching.